everyone. There are a couple areas that are probably going to cause you issues in this class, so I want to address them head on. The most common mistake at the beginning of this class is either not reading the rounding instructions or not understanding the rounding instructions. So I just did a screenshot of a quiz question a student did, and I wanted to show you how close they were to the correct answer on a couple of them. You can see they put in 14% instead of 15% and 147.4 instead of 148%. One thing that you could have seen is it asks you to round up to the nearest whole percent. But let me just, if you're at this point in the class and can understand this, or you want to save this for later, let me just go through this question and do the actual math so you can see how these might have been written or interpreted and why the answer should be what it is. So in this case, we have a Canvas grade of 83.4% before the fourth exam, and every assignment is already graded, and the fourth exam is 15% of the grade. You want to know what's the highest grade that you can earn. So that was 85.89%. But I'm going to figure out what is the minimum score you would need on the fourth exam to earn a 73%. Your earned grade is the 83.4%. I suggest you change it to a decimal instead of a percent, but you could leave it whole as long as you were consistent across your equation. So I'm going to just change that to 0.834. And then I need to multiply that by the percent that I've earned. Notice that these words should match. The grade that I earned needs to be multiplied by the percent of the grade that I've earned. If 15% of my grade is left, I'm going to change that to 0.15. Your grade will end up 100% of your grade. So you're trying to figure out how much you've earned, which would be 85% or 0.85. The grade left is what I'm trying to figure out. This is that fourth exam is my unknown variable. And the final grade that I want is 73. Now I'm going to take out my calculator and take 0.834 times 0.85. That's going to be 0.7089 plus, let's just write this with my number before my variable written conventionally, equals 73. Let me change that to a percent to be consistent. I'm going to subtract the 0.73 minus 0.7089, and we get 0.0211. Divide that by my 0.15, and I get x equals 0.140666, and that 6 keeps repeating. Your calculator has a 7 at the end, but understand that that's actually not a 7. It's another 6 that's being cut off, and so this 6 before it is written as a 7. But if I were to change this to a percent, you get this 14 point, and it almost feels like it's almost 14%, right? But remember that we want to get at least, earn at least a grade of 73%. We want to see or higher. So if I got 14%, then that would not actually give me a 73% unless my teacher was rounding. So we would want to round. Think about this as a greater than sign. It's got to be greater than or equal to. Okay, so we want at least 14.07%, but I'm assuming I can't get a partial percent. Maybe you can, but we're going to assume you can only earn a whole percent. So I must get at least 15%. So that's why the answer is 15. And that's why we need to be super careful with our rounding. I told someone else in the class, if you were ordering 14.07 square feet of material for the area and you go to the store, you wouldn't just buy 14 square feet of material, right? It wouldn't make sense because you would have a sliver left somewhere exposed. So you would want to always round it up by 15 square feet so you can cut off that little edge and fill in the gap, if that makes sense. So the same thing with your grades. So just be careful with context. That's what situational rounding is all about. And I hope that helps you this week. Let me know if you have any other questions. Keep adding them to the discussion boards, and I'm there.